Good morning and welcome to Living Local 15. I'm your host, Jessica Williams. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Happy Monday. It's time we kick it off with some motivation. Here's the quote. If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the world belongs to you. That's it. You hold your own personal joy in your hands. Now on to the show. First up, we are headed to Parkview Field to learn all about the upcoming Cornhole for the Call event happening next month. Then an internet intelligence specialist joins me to talk all about digital dangers and how to keep your child safe online. Are you ready? Let's get started.
Fashion, food, and fun. You're watching Living Local 15 with your host, Jessica Williams.
This segment sponsored by Hearing the Call. Hearing the Call is an organization that serves locally, nationally, and globally to help provide resources and aid to those suffering with hearing loss. I am at Parkview Field today because they have an upcoming fundraiser happening here, and I'm going to learn all about it. Let's do it. Joining me now is Joe, a board member and founder, Lynn, a board member, and Nora, the CEO and chair of Hearing the Call. Hello, how are you doing?
We're great. Thanks for having us.
Yes, well, it's a beautiful day here at Parkview Field, and I'm so thrilled to learn more about your organization and what brought us here today. So let's start off with an overview. What is Hearing the Call, Joe?
Hearing the Call is real simply, it's a tax-exempt, 501c3 tax-exempt, not-for-profit entity that we formed here in Indiana. And we formed it for the sole purpose of bringing hearing health care to the underserved all around the world.
Yeah, so started here, but you service so many areas. So let's talk about the regions that you service, because I know they span wide and large.
Yeah, so we have projects. We work with independent private audiology practices around the United States, and they do a project so they can serve the underserved in their communities, all from California down to Florida over to Maine. And then we also work around the world in 13 different countries. Wow. And that would be from South America to Africa to Asia.
That's incredible. And so you partner with these organizations or with these facilities to provide what? Is it education? Is it actual medical devices? Is it resources and support?
Yes, it's all of the above. We're big believers in people deserve quality hearing health care. Nobody should be denied access to hearing health care that is life-changing.
Right.
So how do we do that here? It's really about helping get devices that people need. And around the world, it absolutely starts with education. It goes to early identification of hearing loss. So we're working with some government hospitals to try to get hearing screenings when babies are born there. The earlier we catch it, the better the treatment.
Yes.
2, we fly with suitcases loaded up with equipment and hearing aids that we help fit on people around the world too. So really it's all of the above.
Yeah, that is so great. And of course, hearing loss is something that impacts so many different people. And so I know specifically, Lynn, loss of hearing has impacted you, which is such an incredible thing that you get to be a part of an organization that you actually have dealt with. So share with me your story.
Well, I've educated myself about hearing loss, and we know that the older population experiences some level of hearing loss. And I was in a meeting with one of the healthcare providers, and I said, I'm really having a hard time hearing you. And she said, oh, well, we need to make an appointment for you right away. And then I discovered that I did have hearing loss, just related to age. But worldwide, there are about 17.5 billion people who experience some kind of hearing loss. And unfortunately, it's increasing because of higher volumes of music and earbuds that everybody is using. And the really sad part is that you become isolated and more lonely and socially unengaged when you have hearing loss that's untreated. And a lot of the areas that we serve globally have absolutely no hearing health care whatsoever.
Wow.
And it was, as a surprise to me, hearing loss of any level is the third leading health condition in the country, even greater than diabetes. So when you stop and think about how many of us are walking around with some kind of hearing loss, and we're in denial about it. We're quick to get a pair of eyeglasses, but when it comes to hearing aids, I don't know what it is, but we all think that's just one more layer of what we have to accept in terms of how our body is aging. But at the end of the day, you enjoy conversation more. As I said jokingly to my family and some of my organizations, now that I have hearing aids, I can hear you talk about me behind my back. So, just the level of confidence, and really it comes down to also safety. So there are things that we don't think about that really are beneficial to having your hearing tested and in a timely way get the treatment that you need to have the joy of hearing.
Yeah, that is so true. The safety aspect and really the empowerment, like you said, just to really live your life each day confidently. And so, Joe, I know that you all have a very powerful mission statement, so share with me what that is.
Well, our mission statement it's powerful, but it is very simple: to bring hearing health care to the underserved all around the world. And I guess as my tag onto that, we don't want to see anyone go without being able to receive hearing health care. Everybody should be able to be the best version of themselves by us providing that for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nora, I know that you travel around the world and you actually see up close and personal the people that are impacted by not having that type of medical health care. And so share with me a story of how you feel that your organization has really impacted those that you have touched.
Oh, thank you. And I have the pleasure that I have traveled with both of these wonderful board members too. They've come and seen the need also. But I think for me, it's really impactful when we go back and we see patients again for the second time, for the third time, for the fourth time. And one of the patients that really I always look forward to seeing is a little girl named Sylvia, and she's in Zambia. And when we found her, she wasn't speaking at all. And when we tried to put even the headphones on her to test her hearing, she was terrified, broke down crying. Since then, her father would ride a motorcycle every day, miles and miles, through even the rainy season to get her to school that we helped get her in with special needs teacher. Today, I think it's been 8 years, she's thriving. She's a top student, and as soon as she sees us, her face lights up, and it's always this joyful reunion. But she would have had a different outcome had she not had hearing aids, a completely different outcome. Had we not come, most parents with hearing impaired children in countries that are developing like Zambia, those kids stay home. They can't afford to send all of their kids to school, so the ones that don't get the opportunity are the ones with the hearing loss. So just to see a complete life changed like that, it's worth every moment of every effort that we put into this organization.
Absolutely, and you make such a great point that, loss of hearing can happen at any age. It's not just something that happens as you just live and age in life. And so I know that you all get to touch so many different people, and that is great. And the way that the community can really come together to help and to touch lives and participate in this initiative is with your big fundraiser that's coming up. Right?
Yes.
So tell me all about the fundraiser.
Yeah, Cornhole for the Call. It's going to be right here at Parkview Field. It's October 19th, starts at 10 o'clock, and it's going to be a cornhole event for both very competitive and just for those who are in it to have fun. I think Lynn might have more of the information on the cost. If you want to talk about that a little bit and the prizes.
Yeah, well, it's general admission is $10 for anyone who just wants to come and enjoy the day and the festivities, and then it's $60 for a fun team to play, of course, teams of 2, and then the professionals team of 2s are $100. But we've got prizes for the professional teams. $3,000 first place prize,
Yes.
and then a $600 first place prize for the fun team, and then lots of other little prizes throughout. But cornhole really is so much fun, and almost everybody can play cornhole. So in addition to cornhole, the concessions will be open here at Parkview Field. Hopefully the weather is beautiful like it is today, so that we come out and really bring a community together to support hearing health care, and also learn more if you think you have health issues. We'll have some professionals here to help you, navigate that that journey as well. But to be able to provide hearing care not only in the United States but around the world really starts with what we're going to do with the Cornhole event.
Yeah, that's great. And Nora, what are the dates of that, and when can people start to sign up?
Oh, thanks. The date is October 19th, Saturday.
Okay.
And sign-ups can start now on our website,
Okay.
www.hearingthecall.org.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing about your organization today. It was a pleasure to learn more.
Thank you.
And if you would like more information about Hearing the Call, we'll have their website listed below to find out more about the organization and this fundraiser. And I'll see you after the break. This segment sponsored by Hearing the Call. In this digital age where kids are online every day, they are more exposed to dangers. From cyberbullying, exploitation, scams, and misinformation, the list goes on and on. So today, I'm going to speak with Dr. Solfikar Ramzan, who is a chief scientist and specializes in internet intelligence. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so let's start off by you sharing just what have you seen in recent trends about the dangers in the online use that kids have every day? I mean, from their computers to their cell phones, it's a nonstop connection to online.
Absolutely. Well, just on a daily basis, there are nearly 500,000 online predators who are active on a given day. That means that kids are exposed to all sorts of nefarious activities. And then beyond that, kids are literally spending 3 months out of the year, according to our most recent State of the Youth report at Aura, online. That's 3 months out of the year. And then during that time frame, they're exposed to malicious content. They're exposed to scams. They could be exposed to cyberbullying, online predators, misinformation, addiction-related content, and the list goes on and on and on. We live in a world now where all this stuff is literally in our pockets and our kids can access it on a daily basis.
Right. And do you think that danger increases now that, or rather the exposure to the danger increases now that school is back in and kids are maybe away from their parents? Why do you think it's important for parents to talk to their kids right now since they're going back to school?
The main reason is that we live in an entirely new world now. When we were growing up as parents, it was a physical world. And we built up these things called street smarts. And those street smarts were probably honed over millennia through evolution to tell us when to look for dangers in the physical world. Unfortunately, those same street smarts that applied to us in the physical world are no longer applicable in the digital world. And therefore, we have to retrain our own brains to recognize those hidden dangers and ultimately pass that wisdom on to our children, because they're going online and not fully aware that when you go online, you've got to take a presumption of guilt until something is proven innocent.
Yeah, absolutely. And so do you have maybe 5 essential tips that would be useful and really tangible to protect kids online, especially from scams?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, it's really important for parents to have a dialogue with their children about online safety and to regularly communicate with them. We live in a new world, and that's going to be super important when you consider the kind of dangers that kids are exposed to compared to what we were exposed to when we were younger. Secondly, we tell parents to invest in internet security technology. Typically, parental controls is a starting point, so you can monitor how much your kids are going online, put limits around online behavior, because the more time kids spend online, especially if they're engaging in unhealthy activities, that has a set of really massive psychological and social repercussions for children that they may not be ready to handle in this day and age. Then beyond traditional parental controls, we also advise the basic suite of internet security capabilities, things like antivirus software, so that if a kid did click on a link and downloaded some software that was no good for their computer, that can be detected and removed. And then in general, having a conversation on privacy and password management. Most attacks today are typically situated in a place where our passwords are, in many cases, available on the dark web and sitting out there and ready to be pilfered by threat actors and used. Therefore, it's important to have really good password hygiene to make sure you don't reuse the same password across multiple websites, and that you update your passwords on a regular basis so that even if one were to get compromised in a data breach, that potential implication could be bounded and limited.
Right.
And so those are some of the most important tips that I recommend for parents to engage with and talk to about with their children.
Yes, and Doctor, we know that AI is playing a very important role right now, and I think it's in the stages where people are trying to figure out how it will impact kids, whether they are learning in the classroom or utilizing AI for research or various other ways. So do you foresee at this time any danger and harm with the inclusion of AI when kids are using the internet?
Absolutely. I think AI is a new capability. I mean, AI as a field in general has been around for decades, but these recent advances have just been mind-blowing. And now we're in a world where kids are, in many cases, exposed more to this technology than their parents are. Children have to learn when AI will work, when it will present them with correct information versus misinformation, because that can happen with AI. And generally speaking, some of the dangers of using AI for things like school assignments when that may or may not be allowed, and doing that correctly and safely and sanely using any new technology. And nowadays, technology literacy is as important as other forms of literacy. And it's crucial in this day and age for parents to be aware of how technology is evolving and how those new technologies could be impacting their children on a regular basis.
Right. Okay. So it sounds like the AI aspect is more so the risks of plagiarism when it comes to doing schoolwork. But do you see any dangers in AI? Anything specifically you can share regarding if AI could be a leverage to put our kids more in danger with some of the areas that we spoke about before with cyberbullying or exploitation or anything that they will run into like that?
You know, the biggest thing that I really worry about is today you have cyberbullying, you've got online predators, and online predators typically try to pose as younger kids when they're first engaging with their victim. And that's the kind of thing that typical adults have a hard time doing because, as you all know, when you see a kid typing online, what they type looks like gibberish compared to what an adult knows. They use terms like Ohio and skibbity and Riz and all sorts of interesting terminology like that. What we're finding out is that AI is actually surprisingly good at sounding like a kid. So if I put in an adult sentence, the AI will actually translate that into Gen Z language. And I think that could be a powerful tool in the context of online predators who are trying to really hook their victims and provide them with some false expectation around who they are on the other end of that connection.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And so when you recommend parents giving talks or having those talks with their kids and giving solutions and really answers, where do you recommend they go for those resources? Because, you know, as you said, technology is ever changing. And so parents want to make sure that they are well versed on the topic to be able to educate their child and also identify some of these red flags.
Well, or we actually set up a website, digitalparenthood.com, that provides a one-stop shop for resourcing in terms of all the things that parents could care about when their kids are going online. We recognize this problem is not just about information and content, but about forming communities so that parents can share notes, to talk to each other, to understand from others and experts on how to navigate the digital realm. So I highly recommend digitalparenthood.com. Secondly, and of course I'm a bit biased in saying this, one of the easiest ways to facilitate a conversation about going online is through parental controls technology, because that enables parents to get visibility into what their kids are doing, and that can be the basis for a deeper conversation. So our goal with parental controls is not just to put a bunch of restrictions in place and make it hard for kids to go online. It's really about providing and enabling information to be exchanged so that we can facilitate a dialogue between parents and their children.
And as you are a chief scientist and you're really deep into the intelligence world, I'm curious what you have seen and what we can expect perhaps moving forward. One thing that we know is technology is not going anywhere and it's only going to increase and get stronger. Do you feel that there will be a shift where kids are maybe disconnecting from their devices more, or do you see this just getting worse and worse as far as that addiction to technology and devices?
What's interesting is that we've seen actually both trends happen in some cases in parallel. We're seeing more and more kids these days getting fed up and exhausted with the constant digital buzz in their lives. And so we are seeing, on the one hand, a lot of kids going through essentially digital detox, really moving their phones away and not staring at their phones constantly. On the flip side, the other dangerous trend we are seeing is the increase in the amount of addictive content that's available online. Many of these companies that provide content, their goal is to keep you hooked and to keep you sitting there on that screen. They literally measure how many minutes their consumers and users spend online on those sites. And so as a result, kids are exposed to really dangerous content. The algorithms that are used to pick that content may not be thinking about the ethical implications of the content that they're serving. And they're not necessarily considering whether or not that content is being viewed by somebody who is underage and may not be able to appropriately ingest that content and handle it safely.
Right. Yeah. All right. Such good information. Thank you so much, Dr. Ramzan. We appreciate it.
Of course.
And if you'd like more information about the resources you can obtain and really learn as a parent how to have these conversations with your children, we'll have that website listed below, and I'll see you after the break.
Living Local 15, proudly driven by the Kelly Automotive Group.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, you can always catch up on episodes and segments of Living Local 15 by going to WANE.com, downloading the WANE app, and also checking us out on YouTube. And I'll leave you with this. It's never too late to live your best life, so start living it today. And I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Content segments during today's Living Local 15 were paid for by these sponsors.